What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Zoop here, and we made it. 2020 is here. And because of that, I think it's time to take a look back at World of Warships throughout 2019. The gameplay for today was provided by DieMags98. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I apologize if I didn't. From Clan MIA, he had a wonderful round in a Kremlin, which I think is a very fitting ship to use for this video because it was released in 2019 and I actually touch on it at some point. Great round. Thank you for that video replay. I appreciate it. And since this is a shorter video, I'm going to try and cut to the highlights of your round because you had some very, very wonderful moments there. So thanks again, DieMags98. It was a year of many highs and many lows. Some really great moves by Wargaming, and some very confusing and bad moves. All of it affected the player base in one way or another. For myself, 2019 couldn't have been better. I hit 25,000 subscribers, so I thank every single one of you. You guys are amazing, each and every one of you. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit that button. On the Twitch side of things, we're close to hitting 5,000 followers. Less than 200 to go. And I've got some ships to give away when that finally happens. Be sure to throw me a follow on Twitch as well. I do stream less frequently though, but it's more a time to kick back and relax for me than anything else. Now, enough about me. On to the 2019 year in review. We started the year off with one of the most controversial things to ever happen to the game. The CV Rework. A complete remake of the way carriers function. I'll admit, I jumped aboard the hype train at first. Ooh, shiny object, look! However, after what, a half dozen hot fixes? My patience started wearing thin with most everyone else's. While I still believe the move was right, it was handled wrong and too quickly. Things are in a much better state with CVs now, but it took a while to get there. Too long, really. Despite the rocky start, I wouldn't consider this a low point. Or at least not the lowest. That would come much later in the year. Another huge announcement occurred midway through the year. Once only rumored and teased, it was confirmed that Submarines were indeed coming to the game, and testing began in earnest. Unlike the CVs though, Wargaming decided to not rush things with Submarines, and testing is still ongoing. They appear to have potential, but I personally doubt their ability to influence much in the game. Time will tell, I guess. One major low point in the year was the introduction of Paragon, or the Naval Training Center. Special grinds for special modules for ships. It was very poorly received, so much so that Wargaming scrapped it altogether, though it did reappear in the form of the Research Bureau. The reward this time was changed to ships though. We had numerous premium ships released, 32 I count, and I could be off give or take a few. Many new fan favorites were introduced to include the USS Georgia, Thunderer, Friesland, Alaska, Ohio, and many, many more. All available through different means. USS Benham was even available through an incredibly grindy mission, though it wouldn't be the only one of those this year. Ohio, along with Colbert, were offered through the Research Bureau, and many more ships were offered for coal, free XP, and steel. And yes, we were also introduced to the Smolensk. The most polarizing ship this game has ever seen. I think we've pretty much beat this horse into the ground. But as polarizing as the Smolensk was, another ship made waves as well, for all the wrong reasons. The end of the year brought us Puerto Rico, now synonymous with PR disaster. A lengthy grind and a price hidden behind another price. This was the lowest point of the year for Wargaming, which doubled down on the whole thing instead of admitting they screwed up. If the community's trust in Wargaming was shaky before, the PR incident crumbled what remained. We had several ship lines released throughout the year. United Kingdom aircraft carriers were released shortly after the rework, being the first line to not have seen the pre-rework style of gameplay. Russian battleships came in, and once again sparked cries of Russian bias, as the Kremlin at Tier 10 quickly became a go-to for many players in both clan and ranked battles. The addition of the Special Commander Kuznetsov added a last stand bonus that only strengthened it and other ships in the Russian line. French destroyers released, challenging and surpassing Russian destroyers as the speed demons. Many players enjoyed them, but their lack of coping skills against a good CV player made them somewhat of a challenge. Italian cruisers made their entrance to the game as well, along with SAP, which was hit or miss with the player base. Only the third shell type to be seen in the game, It had issues in the beginning, before becoming somewhat of a curiosity that really added nothing to the ship line, other than the ability to absolutely wreck poor destroyers. And speaking of poor destroyers, if 2019 was supposed to be the year of the carrier, since 2018 and 2017 obviously weren't, things only got worse for the poor workhorses of the game. More radar, more HE, attack planes, Smolensk, and more than that really made things challenging for the class. Those that have been dive bombed by a Midway absolutely know what I'm talking about. Shortly after the rework, the DD population plummeted. It's back and healthy, thanks to ships like Haragumo, but it was really hit or miss for a bit, and definitely a low point for the class. 2019 is also the year that Excel officially became a meme, for wargaming's over-reliance on spreadsheet data to determine player satisfaction in ships. That could never go wrong, right? Overall, 2019 had some solid releases. There was no shortage of clan battles, rank sprint, and special game modes like the fabulous Tort Beats. So much so that I think it fatigued many players, but I'm not going to say that's a bad thing. There were plenty of ships and plenty of classes. Again, there were plenty of highs, but this year unfortunately had more lows than I can recall in years past. Hopefully wargaming can build on the highs and learn from the lows. But if there's anything we've learned, wargaming can be stubborn sometimes. But hey, who knows? It's a new decade. Anything can happen, right? We're at the midway point of the life cycle of this game, so it'll be interesting to see what comes next in addition to Submarines. Anyhow, this was a look back at 2019. I hope 2020 is everything you want it to be and more. Let me know what you think the highs and the lows of the year were. I'm interested to know your thoughts on this. And as always, thanks for watching. Zoop out.